Hi guys, welcome to this video for Bite Size Excel, where I will be giving you a brief introduction to formulas and operators in Excel. Now, Excel is a really useful tool. It can be used just like a calculator to add, subtract, multiply and divide, either numbers that you type in yourself, or you can use cell references to add up data that you've already got in. But before we get on to a little bit more on the formulas themselves, there's some useful information to know about mathematical operators. What I mean by that is your symbols that we use in Excel to multiply, divide, add, subtract, and so on. Now, Excel uses standard operators for formulas, such as a plus sign for addition, a minus sign for subtraction, an asterisk for multiplication, and a forward slash for division. It also uses what's known as a caret for raising something to the power of. That's this little inverted V symbol. So for example, 3 to the power of 2 is 3 multiplied by 3, which is 9. And then it also uses an open brackets and a closed brackets, a parentheses, and this is to enclose parts of your formulas. Now, Excel will always calculate these in a particular way. It will always do your parentheses first, followed by your exponents, then any multiplication or division within the cell, and then your addition and subtraction. Another thing to note is that a formula in Excel will always start with an equal sign. So to give you some examples of how Excel calculates these formulas, we'll look at a few examples here. So as I said, you can type in the numbers as they are. So in this example, we have 5 plus 3 multiplied by 2 with no brackets or anything. Now, as we can see from this list, the first one in there is multiplication. So we will multiply the 3 by 2 first, giving you 6, plus 5 is then going to be equal to 11. So if we copy our formula here, as I said, it always starts with an equals, you'll get 11. Now this will change if you enclose the 5 and the 3 within brackets. So obviously we'll add the 5 plus 3 first because parentheses get calculated first, and then we'll multiply that result, so the 8 by 2 giving you 16. Similarly, in this example, it's 12 plus 8 divided by 2. There are no brackets, so we'll do the divide sign first. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, plus 12 will give you 16. And again, in this one, 12 plus 8 is enclosed by your parentheses, so that gets added first, giving you 20 divided by 2, so your result will be 10. On the last example, we're using our exponents. We're raising the 3 to the power of 2. In this one, there's no brackets, so 3 to the power of 2 is 9. 12 minus 9 is 3. Copying that over. And in this example, we actually enclose that first section. We want the minus to happen first, so we enclose it in brackets. 12 minus 3 is 9. 9 to the power of 2 will be 81. Now you'll notice that in these formulas I have typed the numbers in manually, but the power of Excel is that you can replace any of these with a cell reference. So for example, I want to reference E11. Instead of the number 3, I want to reference the cell that contains a 3. And then the last one, replace with a 2. And we'll still get the same result. So your formulas in Excel can either contain numbers that you type in yourself or cell references. Some other operators that it's useful to be aware of, but that I won't dwell too much on in this video, are the concatenate function, so concatenation, which basically joins together 2 or more strings of text, and logical operators. So the symbols for these is an ampersand for the concatenate. You can also use the concatenate function itself, and logical operators, which includes your greater than, your less than, your equal sign, or your not equals to symbol. So these are useful when you start using functions a little bit more and to define criteria. For example, in if functions, you'll find that you might use these quite a lot. So if a value is greater than a number, you might get one result. If it's less than, you might get another. We'll touch on this in more detail in later on videos. To give you just a quick example of how the concatenate function, the ampersand, joins together two strings of text, we'll look at this example where we maybe have a first name and a last name, and we want to join those together so that it becomes the full name in one single cell. And this is where you would use this formula. So in the first example, if we copy over our formula, you'll notice it simply adds the first cell and the second cell together with no space. So if there's no space at the end of John, they'll obviously be mashed together. To get around this, the ampersand and the concatenate function work by, you can actually use cell references and you can use your own typed in text. So in this example, we're looking at the value in E22. We want to insert a space between, so to do that, to insert any text, we use these quote symbols, and anything in between the quote symbols will appear in our cell. And then ampersand, and we're looking at F22. So if we copy that formula over, you'll have the space in between. Now, essentially, anything you put in between this ampersand, so for example, if I know that his middle name is Ben, we can add that in and it will appear in our cell. A couple of things you might have noticed in this video. In our examples here, we have put a little apostrophe in front of our equal sign. And what that does is it makes the formula actually appear in the cell as you type. So if you don't want your formula to calculate and you want to actually have it in as an example, like I've done here, a little apostrophe will mean that anything after that will just appear as text in your cell. Another thing to note is that to make these a little bit more readable in this example, I've actually inserted spaces between our formula. You don't actually need these in Excel. You can take all those out and it will essentially ignore any spaces in the formula unless they're between your quotation marks. So that's just a brief introduction to formulas and the operators that are used to calculate them in Excel. I'm going to delve into a little bit more detail on formulas and functions you might use them in later videos. But as I've said, this is just a simple introduction to demonstrate how Excel uses operators and calculates your formulas. I hope you found it useful, and I do look forward to seeing you on the next video.